So brothers and sisters, you cannot take this mark. You cannot worship this image of the beast that this man of sin will have erected. You must be like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, or Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were thrown in a fiery furnace because they refused to worship the statue that Nebuchadnezzar set up. Okay, many people during the Great Tribulation will be beheaded, but just know that the Lord has the power to deliver you from death. So, and he causeth both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Okay, think about what happens to you on Ash Wednesday. What happens, you have a mark in your forehead. You have a mark they put in your hand. Okay, getting you ready for what's to come. Because this Pope, or this man of sin, is coming out of Rome. I'm going to show you. And that no man might buy or sell, saying that he had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Understand and listen. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. 666. Now, how do we get 666? You have to have a name that also has numerical value. And when you look at one of the titles of the Pope, a Latin title, you get 666. It's a blasphemous title. Vicarius Filii Dei. It's Latin for replacement for the Son of God. See, he calls himself, the Pope, calls himself the Vicar of Christ, the replacement for the Son of Christ. He is in Christ's place while here on earth. Brothers and sisters, nowhere in this Holy Bible do you read about Jesus needing a replacement. All right? So he's a blasphemer. But when you add this up, these letters, because they have numerical value, some of them, you get 112, 53, and 501, which again equals 666. The V is 5, the I is 1, the C is 100, the A has no value, the R has no value, the I is 1, the U is 5, and the S has no value. But you get 112. Philae, again Son. The F, no value, the I is 1, the L is 500, or 50, the I is 1, and the I again is 1, so you get 53. Here for day or God, the D is 500, the E is no value, and the I is 1. 501, 112, 53, 60, 166. Vicarius Filii Dei. Alright, so that's where you get 666. It's not Ronald Reagan. It's not Barack Obama. It's not Tony Blair. Okay? When you talk about that man of sin, you're talking about this guy right here. You're talking about the Pope. Now, I'm not saying it's Benedict. What I'm saying is the man of sin will occupy the office of the Pope. He's coming out of Rome. Let me read something else to show you this. And then we're going to go to Daniel. Because when you read in Revelation 17 about this woman who rode this beast, see, this woman represents the church, or the false church, the Roman Catholic Church, that is going to rule, in the spiritual sense, rule over this beast. Again, when you look at the EU, that's just the reunification of the Roman Empire. Let's look at this right here. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. See, you read even in Daniel again, referring you back to Daniel, he talked about the beast. All right? He talked about the Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, the Greeks, and then the Romans. All right? The Romans were destroyed. All right? But they were not destroyed spiritually, because everything that so-called Christians get comes out of Rome. Sunday worship comes out of Rome. Christmas comes out of Rome. Easter comes out of Rome. And guess what? It's all pagan. Okay? But listen to this. Revelation 17:9 reads, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. Again, we talk about wisdom. You need to get wisdom. You need to get understanding. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. See, again, this is a system we're talking about. It's that church. And what city has 7 mountains? It's built on 7 mountains. It's the Rome. See, Rome is the new Babylon. America is not Babylon. America is not in this Holy Bible. We're talking about the reunification of the Roman Empire we see today, known as the European Union. Okay, but let's go to Daniel. to find out for sure who this guy is. Let's go to Daniel, the 11th chapter. Because there's a lot of confusion about what's going on. But all you have to do is read and get some understanding. Let's read about this same guy, this man of sin. And the king shall do according to his will. And he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god. It sounds like what the Pope does, Vicar of Christ. He says, I'm the replacement for the Son of God. If you ever research this guy and see some of the things he says about himself, he's a blasphemer. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods. Blaspheming. And shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Now listen, neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above God. Now think about it. No desire for women. These priests, these Catholic priests, don't get married, do they? Paul talked about that doctrine of devils in Timothy. But listen, nowhere in the Bible does it say that a man cannot get married, that a priest cannot get married. See, that's the doctrine of a devil. And that's where it comes from, straight from Satan. And that's where this guy, this man of sin, this abomination of desolation, this Antichrist is going to get his power. This is where his power is coming from. Straight from Satan. Okay, but let's go to 1 Timothy. I wanted to read this doctrine that I'm talking about that is here now. So you're familiar with it. See if it sounds familiar to you. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, and commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. See, what is this forbidding to marry? See, that's straight from Rome. All right? And commanding to abstain from meats. Think about it. No meat on Fridays, Lent. That's straight from Rome. See, that's doctrines of devils. And see, we see that right now. But all these other doctrines, even what the Baptists have, even what the Methodists and the Lutheran have, what the Protestants have in general, what so-called Christians have today, all that came from Rome. Because it's pagan. Look up Christmas, look up Easter, look up Sunday worship. It's all pagan. All right, you should be keeping the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, Pentecost, the Day of Atonement, the Sabbath day, the seventh-day Sabbath, the things that you can find to be done written in the Bible. But let's go back to Matthew, the 24th chapter. Matthew 24:15. It says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Okay? He didn't say anything about a rapture. Brothers and sisters, that is one of the most dangerous false doctrines there is. False doctrine is dangerous anyway. But when you tell somebody that they're going to be raptured and that they're waiting for the rapture before the tribulation, they won't flee as Jesus told us to do when we see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place. When that man of sin, when that Pope goes into that temple that will be built and stops the sacrifice that will be taking place for a period of time, that's the start of the Great Tribulation. And we're going to read that. But he says, when you see this abomination of desolation, he says you need to flee into the mountains. He says, let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. See, when he goes into that temple, know that that is the start of great tribulation. And he says you need to flee. He didn't say you were getting raptured. There is no pre-tribulation rapture. There is no tribulation rapture. There is no rapture period. The Lord's returning for the second time. We're going to find out when. Okay? But let's go to Revelation 12 and read that about this fleeing. Okay? And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.